Have you ever seen someone's private life exposed to the world, without their permission? What if that someone was a Hollywood icon known for his kindness and mystery? A controversial blogger thought he had the ultimate scoop, leaked private photos of Keanu Reeves. But what happened next stunned the entire internet. A mysterious cyber attack crashed the blogger's website within minutes of the leak. Was it an angry fan? A secret hacker? Or something even bigger? Stay with me, because this story takes a turn no one saw coming. And by the end, you'll rethink everything you know about privacy, justice, and the power of the internet. But before we dive in, what do you think? Should celebrities have the right to absolute privacy, or do public figures owe the world transparency? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's get into it. It all started with a single post. Ryan Chase, a self-proclaimed truth seeker and the mastermind behind Starwatch Insider, sat in his cluttered home office, surrounded by multiple screens flashing celebrity gossip headlines. His fingers drummed impatiently against his desk as he watched the loading bar crawl forward. Tonight was different. Tonight, he had something no one else did, something that would make waves across the internet. A series of private photos. The subject? None other than Keanu Reeves. Ryan smirked as he uploaded the images, each click sending a jolt of excitement through him. This was it, his ticket to viral infamy. The headline was designed to spark controversy. Keanu Reeves' secret life exposed, you won't believe these private photos. Within seconds, the numbers started climbing. Clicks, comments, shares, the kind of engagement social media dreams were made of. Ryan leaned back, watching the traffic flood in. I just broke the internet, he muttered to himself, a satisfied grin stretching across his face. But he had no idea what he had just unleashed. A man unlike any other. For years, Keanu Reeves had remained a mystery in Hollywood. Unlike other A-listers who thrived on attention, he shied away from the spotlight. No extravagant parties. No flashy social media posts. No arrogant displays of wealth. Instead, he was spotted doing the opposite of what a typical celebrity would do. Taking the subway. Buying groceries like an ordinary person. Helping strangers without expecting anything in return. Quietly donating millions without seeking credit. He wasn't just an actor, he was a rare exception in an industry filled with self-importance. People admired him. Respected him. Defended him. But Ryan? Ryan saw an opportunity. And when he got his hands on private images that no one was meant to see, he didn't hesitate. He didn't stop to think, how were these pictures obtained? He didn't ask himself, was this ethical? All he saw was a headline that would skyrocket his career. And just like that, with a single upload, he crossed the line. The tipping point. For the first few minutes, everything seemed normal. His website traffic was exploding. His inbox was flooded with media requests. Social media was ablaze with speculation. Then, something strange started happening. At first, it was subtle. The site took longer to load. Some users reported glitches. A few even claimed they were kicked off the page. Ryan brushed it off. Probably just too much traffic, he thought. But within 10 minutes, the entire website froze. Refresh. Nothing. He opened his site's admin panel, locked out. His email notifications went wild. Messages from his web hosting provider flooded in. Your website is experiencing an unauthorized intrusion. We are investigating. Ryan's stomach dropped. He tried logging back in. Access denied. His phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't just his website. His personal bank account had been temporarily frozen due to suspicious activity. His email? Unreachable. His social media accounts? Wiped clean. This wasn't just a website crash. This was an attack. Who was behind it? Ryan's hands shook as he refreshed his screen over and over again, hoping for a way back in. Was this Keanu's legal team shutting him down? Had he messed with the wrong celebrity? Or was this something bigger? A hacker group? A cyber vigilante? Someone in the shadows protecting one of Hollywood's most beloved actors? Ryan had spent years exposing other people's secrets. But now, for the first time, he was the one being watched. And this was just the beginning. Ryan Chase's hands hovered over his keyboard, sweat forming at his temples. His once bright screen now displayed nothing but an ominous black void, flickering with an error message he had never seen before. Unauthorized access detected. System lockdown initiated. He clicked frantically, trying to regain control of his website. Nothing. He reached for his phone, scrolling through his inbox. Dozens of messages poured in from journalists, bloggers, and lawyers, all asking the same thing. Did you really leak Keanu Reeves' private photos? But then came the real gut punch. A new email. No sender. No subject. Just a single line of text. You crossed the wrong line. This is only the beginning. Ryan's throat went dry. He tried to reply, but the email vanished before his eyes. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just angry fans. This was something far worse. The public turns against him. Just an hour ago, he had been celebrated. People had flooded his website, eager to see the scandalous images. Now, the internet had turned on him. Twitter was ablaze with hashtags. Hashtag respect Keanu. Hashtag shame on Starwatch. Hashtag privacy matters. Fans weren't just angry. They were furious. Celebrities, influencers, and even journalists condemned Ryan's actions. Keanu is one of the few actors who actually respects people. You had no right to invade his life like this. We trusted you for entertainment, not cyberstalking. You're done, Ryan. Imagine if this happened to you. How would you feel if your most private moments were stolen and exposed? The flood of backlash was relentless. Ryan's name wasn't trending for fame anymore, it was trending for disgrace. And then came the final blow. The website goes dark. Ryan turned back to his computer, desperately typing into the system. He needed to regain access. He needed to undo this before it got worse. But the moment he refreshed the page, his stomach dropped. Starwatch Insider, the website he had spent years building, was gone. Not hacked. Not disabled. Deleted. Every article, every backup, every piece of content he had ever published, wiped out in seconds. His mouth went dry. This wasn't just a website crash. This was intentional. Whoever was behind this knew exactly what they were doing. Ryan's desperation. Panic surged through him. His entire career was vanishing before his eyes. He grabbed his phone, dialing his web hosting company. Due to an unusual breach, we have locked access to your account. What do you mean, locked? This is my site. Ryan shouted. Sir, we are conducting an internal security review. Someone with administrator-level access has completely erased your data. There's nothing left. Ryan's legs went numb. Nothing left? Years of work, thousands of articles, gone. Who did this? He demanded, his voice shaking. There was silence on the other end. Then, a soft sigh. Whoever they are, they were in before we could even detect them. This is military grade. Ryan's blood ran cold. This wasn't some random hacker. This was personal. The backlash escalates. His phone buzzed again, this time, an unknown number. He hesitated, but answered. A deep, measured voice spoke on the other end. You thought you could expose a good man and walk away? Actions have consequences, Ryan. Ryan's hands shook. Who was this? You built a career destroying reputations. Now you know what it feels like to have yours taken from you. The call disconnected. Ryan stared at the phone, his breath shallow. This wasn't just about losing a website. This was about losing everything. His credibility. His platform. His ability to rebuild. And for the first time in his career, he felt the one thing he had never experienced before. Regret. Ryan Chase sat frozen in his chair. His website was gone. His accounts were wiped. His career, everything he had spent years building, had been erased in a matter of minutes. But the nightmare wasn't over yet. Another email appeared in his inbox. This one had a subject line. "You wanted a story? Here's one for you." His fingers trembled as he clicked. A video file. No sender. No explanation. He hesitated for only a moment before pressing play. The face he never expected. The screen flickered, and the video began. It wasn't grainy security footage. It wasn't some anonymous hacker wearing a mask. It was him. Keanu Reeves. Sitting in what looked like a quiet study, dressed in a simple black sweater. No flashy background, no anger in his expression. Just calm, steady eyes staring directly at the camera. "Ryan." Keanu's voice was soft, deliberate. "You don't know me, but I know what you've done." Ryan's breath hitched. "For years, you've made a living exposing people. Digging into their lives. Showing the world things that were never meant to be shared. I never asked for this kind of attention. I've spent my life avoiding it. Not because I have something to hide, but because I believe in privacy. In respect. In letting people be human without judgment." Ryan swallowed hard. "I didn't want to respond to you. I thought about ignoring this. But then I realized something." Keanu leaned forward, his gaze never wavering. "You've spent so much time tearing others down. I wonder, do you know what it feels like when the tables are turned?" The screen flickered again. And suddenly, Ryan saw something that made his blood run cold. The ultimate exposure. The video cut to his own face. Ryan Chase. Not the smug, confident journalist people knew from his blog. Not the man who reveled in exposing others. No. It was footage of him as a child. Footage that no one should have access to. A schoolyard scene, where a young Ryan was being bullied. Pushed to the ground, books scattered, kids laughing at him. A voice from the past echoed, "Look at him. Thinks he's smart, but he's nothing." Ryan's breath caught in his throat. This wasn't possible. No one had this footage. No one even knew about this moment. The video cut back to Keanu, who now looked almost disappointed. "You know what it's like to be humiliated, Ryan. To feel small. To feel powerless. And yet, instead of breaking that cycle, you became the very thing you once feared." Ryan felt his entire world tilt. He had spent years hunting down celebrities, exposing their flaws, mocking their mistakes. But in this moment, he was the one exposed. The crushing realization. Keanu's voice was steady. "I'm not going to destroy you, Ryan. I don't need to. You've already done that yourself. But I hope, after today, you finally understand what your actions have done to others. And maybe, just maybe, you'll choose to be better." The screen went black. Ryan just sat there. Staring. For the first time in his life, there was no spin. No way to twist the narrative. Because the truth was right in front of him. And it was his own reflection staring back. Ryan Chase sat motionless, his fingers curled into fists on his desk. The screen had gone black, but Keanu Reeves' words still echoed in his mind. "You became the very thing you once feared." A lump formed in his throat. For years, he had convinced himself that he was doing the world a favor, exposing the powerful, bringing secrets to light. But now, staring at the ghost of his own past, he realized the truth. He wasn't a hero. He was a bully. And the worst part? He had become the exact type of person who once made him feel worthless. A lesson in grace. His phone buzzed again. Another email. For a split second, he hesitated, half expecting another blow, another consequence for his actions. But this time, it was from Keanu. No threats. No demands. Just a single sentence. "You still have a choice." Ryan felt something tighten in his chest. He had expected fury. Lawsuits. Public humiliation. But Keanu wasn't interested in revenge. He was offering something else entirely. A chance. A chance to be better. A public apology. For the first time in his career, Ryan opened his laptop, not to expose someone else's life, but to confront his own mistakes. He crafted a message, raw and unfiltered. I've spent years chasing headlines, never thinking about the lives I was affecting. Today, I learned what it feels like to be on the other side. And I don't like the person I've become. Keanu Reeves didn't need to destroy me. He showed me something more powerful, grace. He gave me the chance to reflect on who I am and who I want to be. I owe him, and all of you, an apology. He hit post. Seconds later, comments poured in. Some people were skeptical. Others were angry. But buried beneath the criticism, there were also voices of encouragement. Owning up to your mistakes is the first step. Respect to Keanu for handling this with wisdom. Maybe this is a wake-up call for all of us to be more mindful of the way we treat others. For the first time, Ryan wasn't controlling the story. But maybe, that was okay. The path forward. He didn't know what came next. Would his career survive? Maybe not. Would people forgive him? That wasn't up to him to decide. But for the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about clicks or headlines. He was thinking about change. Because Keanu had given him something that no amount of viral fame ever could. A chance to rewrite his own story. A week had passed since Ryan Chase's public apology. The world had moved on. Social media had found new scandals to obsess over. The storm surrounding his name had started to fade. But for Ryan, the real battle had just begun. For the first time in years, he wasn't chasing stories. He wasn't searching for dirt on celebrities. He was searching for meaning. A moment of reflection. One evening, Ryan found himself walking through the city, lost in thought. He had avoided crowded places for days, fearing judgment, fearing the glares of people who once followed his work. Then, at a small coffee shop on a quiet street, he saw an old man sitting at a table outside. His clothes were worn, his hands rough with age. A small sign rested on the table in front of him. Lost my job. Trying to get home. People passed by without stopping. Some barely glanced in his direction. Others walked faster, avoiding eye contact. Ryan hesitated. A few weeks ago, he might not have noticed. Or worse, he might have taken a picture, turned it into some viral story about society's neglect, without actually doing anything to help. But today was different. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the last of the cash he had on him. Not much, but enough for a bus ticket, a warm meal, and maybe a place to rest for the night. He walked over and placed the money on the table. The old man looked up, surprised. Why? Ryan took a deep breath. Because I know what it feels like to lose everything, he said quietly. The man nodded, his eyes filled with something Ryan hadn't seen in a long time. Understanding. A different kind of story. As Ryan walked away, he realized something. For years, he had believed that power came from knowing people's secrets. But real power? Real impact? It came from choosing to do the right thing, even when no one was watching. For the first time, Ryan wasn't writing a story. He was living one worth telling. Ryan Chase had spent his career believing that knowledge was power, that the more secrets he uncovered, the more influence he held. But in the end, it wasn't secrets that shaped him. It was grace. Keanu Reeves had every reason to destroy him. Every reason to sue, to humiliate, to make sure Ryan never worked again. But instead of revenge, Keanu offered him something Ryan had never given anyone before. A second chance. The true power of a story. For years, Ryan had built a career tearing people down, exposing their flaws for entertainment. But now? He saw the real power of a story. Not one that thrives on humiliation and scandal, but one that inspires growth, understanding, and redemption. He had spent years looking for drama, when what the world really needed was kindness. The final reflection. As he sat in a quiet cafe, watching the world move around him, Ryan finally understood something he had ignored for too long. In the end, it's not what you expose about others that defines you. It's what you reveal about yourself. Not in front of a camera. Not in the headlines. But in the quiet moments, when no one is watching. He pulled out his laptop. For the first time in his life, he was about to write a story that truly mattered. But this time, it wasn't about someone else's mistakes. It was about his own. Because real change doesn't come from tearing people apart. It comes from choosing to be better. And that is the story worth telling.